Welcome to the Agency Navigators podcast. I'm Merle.
I'm Don.
I'm Kayla. I'm Shauna.
And I'm Adam.
We have a almost full house without Susan and Jamie, but most of us are on today. And why is that? Well, we're talking about timing. When this gets released, kids are probably back to school. We're not ready for the holidays yet, though they're probably looming. So it is fall cleanup time.
It's kind of before we start to think about end of year planning. You start to get things clean, start to get all your things in order for the next year. But really, before you can plan for the next year, you got to clean up this year. Summer's messy. A lot happens in the spring. We're just getting into the year. We're just getting back into schedules. Well, what can we do this fall to get us ready for end of year so we don't go into that panic mode before we get to December time and realize, hey, maybe we're not in the place we thought we were.
And I liked it when we were chit-chatting right before the recording, Kay, you said the magic line.
You got to rake the leaves, get the lawn cleaned up before winter comes. If you're in upstate like we are, before the snow comes.
And Shauna in Minnesota, how do you do to prep for winter? You mentioned winterizing, which was a great way to put it too.
Yeah, definitely got a lot of winterizing. We get dumped on with snow, and all the sand and the salt trucks are out getting the roads prepped up so we don't slip into the ditch for sure.
That is awesome. So we're going to take this time to talk about raking the leaves and so we don't slip in the ditch and get our financial and book of business. That's why we have Adam on. Get ourselves ready for what we are about to face.
Absolutely. And it's time.
It's amazing. It's time.
It is. And before we get set for a great 2026,
unbelievable,
we need to prevent any bad repercussions from 2025, or I call surprises. CFOs hate surprises. Mm-hmm. And if we do our work now, we will make sure that we don't go into 2026 and get some financial surprises that might not be totally welcome.
Mm-hmm. All right. So let's do a quick round table. I'll ask the question, all four of you, because Shauna loves when I do this to her. What is the worst, or what is either one, the worst you've ever seen, or the one financial surprise or book of business surprise you would dread to see?
I don't want to see anybody be hit with a big tax bill first quarter of 2026. Be blindsided by it. And we see this happening all the time when, maybe we're having a great year. Maybe our financials are really good this year and we're feeling good until
dun, dun, dun.
We meet with the CPA in the spring and, you got a big tax liability that you were not expecting. Not good.
That's a good one. And we pick on poor Shauna all the time. Do you want to go next, Shauna, or do you want more time?
I'm ready.
You're ready. We always steal her ideas. All right. You go for it,
Shauna.
Shauna.
Tax bill is near and dear to my heart, though. Coming from a family that owns a business, it does stink. So if agencies can prepare for it, at least I'll have happy clients and I can just deal with it in my husband's business. But for me, and we were just talking about with a client about their, getting kind of prepped and tracking their covenants, their debt covenants today. Right. For me, it's that one. At my home agency, we were always big on our fourth quarter was preparing for the debt covenants at the end of the year, watching the receivables, watching the billings that were going out because we had covenants that we had to meet. Ours were actually for evaluation. For anybody that has third-party valuations of their companies done, you want to make sure that you're keeping your eye on your balance sheet going into the end of the year and that your debt covenants are going to be met or covenants that you have for your valuations as well. We had actually, as silly as it sounds, timing is everything. So you look at a balance sheet, it's just a snapshot in time. The next day, that whole number could change. That's the problem with debt covenants, but it's also kind of your responsibility then to be keeping an eye on it, making sure that, there aren't account managers going in and invoicing on the last day of the year, your biggest account of the whole company, and putting $1 million account, bill it in at 12/31, even though that's never getting collected that day. And all of a sudden your ratios are all out of whack because you had one invoice in there.
That's an amazing example. Good job, Shauna. Wow. Yeah, that was really good. All right.
Thanks.
Adam, you go next. What wouldn't you like to see in the surprise in the data world you're in?
Oh, in the data world specifically, there's a lot that could be, you know, either miscalculated or, you know, numbers were entered incorrectly. One of the big ones also is, you know, making sure that the status of your policies is up to date. Like, is if a policy canceled, making sure you go in and you actually mark it fully canceled, because if you don't, it's going to not only inflate your figures as far as policy counts, customer counts, but it could also throw your financials way out of whack as well.
All right, that's a good one. Okay. I'll put myself last, so if anyone takes mine.
I know Shauna's hard to follow. That was a great example, but I would say a couple ones that we have learned as of a surprise last year. To Don's point, we don't love surprises. A couple that came up that kind of shocked me from our normal situation. A is, you know, the easy one is the payables, is making sure we have really caught up on all of our customer payables, especially if we're heavy agency bill. The balance sheet is so important at end of year, more so than any other time of year. So really getting that cleaned up appropriately and making sure your customer accounts are up to date. We're not past that 90-day point. You know, it's more important than ever at end of year. And then really getting ahead of that. So if you're in commercial lines, most of the time, the fall is a very heavy renewal season, which if we don't keep up with those payables and we don't keep up with what's not renewing at the beginning of the year, that really can have an impact on first quarter. Are we having to pay back some commissions from cancels because they weren't handled appropriately? So any of those payback periods do happen at the first of the next year, which is a huge surprise in 26 if you're having to give commissions back. So think of chargebacks that happen because of renewals that happen in the fall. You know, pay that penalty down the line. But two, just your payables overall, is there anything outstanding? Have we followed up on everything? You know, while you should be doing that all year long, that's my caveat, is that it is extremely important to get that cleaned up in the fall.
Wow. All right. So I'm going to get my rate. Thank you, Kay. Excellent. I'm going to get my rake out. And what I want to see everyone clean up, one is to be prepared for producer true ups if they are on a draw. So if you're oh, you weren't expecting me to have a good one. I out CFO'd the CFO. The idea of if your producers are on a draw, you're going to have to do a true up for the end of the year. And also on this compensation bent. So that's one aspect of compensation. The other thing we've all encountered is you're not planning for any bonuses or any end of year payments, whatever you're going to do for compensation. I'm going to go on and on. If you have benefits renewals, those are going up. We got the notice we're going up again. So the idea of clean up your compensation in your benefits package on all fronts, whether it's producer, bonuses, benefits.
Absolutely. No, I think there's a theme that you're getting. And the idea here is, well, if you think about, well, you just, I'll attack all of those once we get to December. It's way too late. There are so many things that need to be done now and continually for the rest of the year to get you in position to have a great 2026. Waiting to December is not going to be an option. It is far too late for many of these situations. And there's others that need to be addressed now to ensure a great 2026.
Yeah. Go ahead, Kay.
I was going to say, I think to that point, I would really recommend getting meetings on the calendar now. It's a lot easier to cancel than it is to block time off. Consider people take time off. If you've got any key team members that have kids that start school, their focus is on a really good start of the school year. So as you're listening to this, if you have not already scheduled your end of year planning, get it on the calendar. It's the best recommendation I can make, is have those important conversations.
and with all of your trusted advisors. So hopefully you're one of our agency partners or want to be one of our agency partners. We do have a few spots open. When the minute September hits, once we get past Labor Day up in the Northeast, that's when the kids go back to school. But pretty much by the second week, third week of September, we are in planning mode full force for the next year. So get with us, get with your fractional CFO, whoever that is, get with your CPA. Remember,
Fit with your CPA. Now,
yeah.
one of the best things you can do, we're in summertime, you should be ensuring that your 6 months, you should do a 6-month review with your CPA. And that accomplishes a couple things. One is we want to make sure that the financial books are all good. Second, we want to have clarity as what's our growth, what's our profitability. And what comes out of that is then we can get an updated tax liability. Yeah. So it is absolutely essential to do a mid-year. One of the best things we can recommend is absolutely recommend a 6-month review with your CPA. Make sure the books are clean, understand your profitability, and from that profitability, what's the tax liability?
And if you're in September, I think this will be released in September, a 9-month close. I don't care what you do, get with your CPA before December or before next January, February, March, and everyone's stressed out and it's too late to do a lot of things. Do it now. Yeah. Too late is too late. Adam, what would you like them to clean up now? If this is September-ish, we're entering fourth quarter, what should our agency partners and listeners be cleaning up?
Yeah. So, I mean, again, kind of what I touched on earlier, that's something that we've seen, at least in a few cases here and there when it comes to cancellations that weren't cleaned up. We've also seen some information, or you've seen some situations rather where, the revenue was actually higher than, the premium was, and, just typographical errors, things like that. They're really easy to happen. It's not unheard of, especially with the way CRM systems have a lot of free key fields. So usually a lot of that, if it's a free key field, you might want to just double check it. And again, same thing with those cancels, just so all your numbers are square.
Perfect. Shauna, and I'm kind of going in reverse. We'll go back to Shauna.
So my other recommendation would be to look at the timing of your revenue. If you had any timing issues that impacted you, we've seen it with a couple different clients where they've either had accounts that, it's a December, January timeline. They either hit twice in 1 year or didn't hit then for a whole year. Just kind of looking at that timing and seeing if that's impacted you at all. Because if you had an account, maybe it was a January account typically, now this year it's going to hit in December, you're going to have that tax issue there because you're going to have it hit your revenues twice in 1 year and then not in the next year. Yeah. The other part of that though then is if you're looking into budgeting, you're looking into forecasting, your revenue planning for the next 12 months then needs to be lower. So just something, if it was a large account and it's really going to swing things, we've just seen that happen with a couple of clients, and it's just a shock for them that whole year. They either grew by 30% and they really didn't, or all of a sudden they're backwards 30%. So
fair enough. All right. Next recommendation.
I'd say one of the last big ones is really about contingency and carrier bonus management. Checking both your loss ratios at mid-year and any other requirements such as growth. If there's growth requirements, those are a CFO's favorite dollars.
Okay. Anything to add?
Oh, this is tough to follow. Cover the two big ones. Don stole mine, but on the fly, what I came up with is really going back and, this isn't a necessary. The taxes are necessary. You have to plan for the revenue forecasting. I'm going to give an optional option is to go back, reflect on your budget. If you have a financial plan, let me start with if you don't have one. We have some openings. Let's talk about your budget for 26. And if you had one for 25, consider if you exceeded and or came short on some goals, whether that's in revenue, that's in profitability, that's within your producers, it's within your cancellations. Reflect back on those numbers. What caused the spike? Was it a big account? Was it timing, to Shauna's point? For your producers, did any of them exceed their goals? Are we needing to raise those next year? Did we just have a really great influx from one area of their referral network? Go back and really study those results to know what we need to build in for 26. Because I will tell you, when you're panicking at end of year in December and trying to get all of your ducks in a row, you don't have time to go back and reflect. You haven't built that time to go back and understand your results. And if you don't take that time to understand what's going on within the inner workings of your agency, it's like the working in and on the business. It is really hard to plan for the next year because you don't know why you were successful or why you fell short.
Either or. That was really good. All right. I had my CFO moment earlier with my producer. So I'm going to have my human moment now. My recommendation for planning is something we did on our team call this morning, was to talk about end of year timing of holidays. It's always a big issue. It always comes up. People need time off because the kids are out of school, daycares are closed, family vacations and trips, and travel, and also travel nightmares, because we just heard a story today that one of our agency partners was stuck in an airport for 17 hours. So I would really look at your resource planning in terms of your humans and scheduling and all of that that's going to go into that holiday season that is probably approaching quicker than we want it to. So that would be my human. I had my CFO moment. That's my human moment. There is a lot to clean up. As we said, one of you said summer gets dirty. So let's get everything cleaned up and picked up and ready for a great 2026.
We all have the opportunity here to be proactive when it comes to 2026. We can go into 2026 being prepared if we take actions now and throughout the remainder of the year. So this is certainly doable.
Absolutely. So as always, please reach out to us, follow us on your favorite podcast platform, find us on LinkedIn. We'd love to interact. We do have a couple openings. So please reach out. We are here to help. And thank you so much for
And you do these, be proactive, and it'll be great for your financial health. Be well.
Bye.